Be addicted to production rather than consumption. There is an interview with Andrew Tate where I heard him say,
I have a phone addiction, but I'm not consuming a bunch of crap, right? I'm producing on my Twitter account. I'm constantly tweeting. Doesn't matter if it's just tweets, doesn't matter if it's TikToks, doesn't matter if it's YouTube videos. Produce.
Yep.
If you spend all those waking hours producing, eventually people will pay attention to you.
Yes.
And we live in an attention economy.
be addicted to production rather than consumption. I believe this fits, if not all categories, a decent amount of them. Today's world, we consume so much. You're consuming content, comparison, other people's thoughts, other people's ideas, outlooks on life. And most people, I would say, consume more than they produce. And that's what leads me to being addicted to production rather than consumption. For anybody who wants to leave their mark on the world, for anybody who wants to make the most out of their life, or make the most out of themselves, let other people know who they are and that they're here. This mainly applies to you. The people who make a difference, the people you watch, the people you listen to, produce more than they consume. Let's say you like watching fitness influencers on YouTube, and it encourages you to start working out. That is production. You are producing something. The consumption has brought you to production. And it is better to be addicted to production rather than consumption, because it is going to lead you down so many more paths than sitting there being idle. With production, at least you keep moving. At least you get to be the shark. You know, it's better to keep moving than to sit still. It's better to act in uncertainty than to not act at all. And this brings me to my next point. Use feeling rather than logic. There is an interview with Cillian Murphy where he says,
believe your instincts.
Mm-hmm.
Instinct over intellect. Always instinct. Just because you can rationalize it doesn't mean it's right. If you feel it, then it's right.
logic is really great, but there are certain things about human beings that aren't logical. I'm not saying logic isn't a good thing, because it is, but feelings are not as simple as math. The things we like and the things we don't like are not so simple at times. And I believe when you combine being addicted to production rather than consumption while using feeling instead of logic, you can truly do what you want. Or you can at least set yourself in motion to do what you want. We have inclinations for a reason. We have likes and don't likes for a reason. What if you started producing based off your likes and inclinations? What if you were addicted to working on your likes and inclinations rather than addicted to watching others work on theirs? Where could that take you? Production is going to lead you where you want to go, where you're supposed to be. Consumption keeps you in the same place. Let's say you really like watching YouTube and you've spent hundreds of hours watching videos, right? Where could you be right now if you spent those hundreds of hours producing videos on YouTube? Or you spent those hundreds of hours going to acting classes? Or you spent those hundreds of hours practicing your sport, harnessing your craft, producing something of yourself, rather than sitting there consuming? I recently watched the Modern Wisdom podcast with Chris Williamson and Sam Sulik, where they discussed the topic of logic.
I got this conversation later on today with a couple of young philosopher bros, and they do logic, right? So it's a very sterile, rational way to sort of look at situations. Honestly, the more that I've done a little bit of research into logic, the more it feels like it just completely fucking falls apart the second an emotion comes in. You're like, oh, this sounded so great, but you're not an equation. You're not a sterile laboratory.
Yeah, it's like it's something that's fun on paper, because you could read that and think, oh my God, if I start thinking that this way, I'll never be upset again. And it's like, you're not a freaking robot. I bring this up a ton where I'm like, just because you can use Excel doesn't mean you don't have to run around like we used to do when we were hunter-gatherer. We're not that much different.
Okay.
Like, we can do way different stuff, but you're still like genetically right there. You gotta run around and freaking move.
Be addicted to production rather than consumption, because production is going to get you where you want to be, while consumption leaves you in the same place. The world is yours. Dare to be great.